Hey guys, what's going on? So I've been playing World of Warships, which is the game you are seeing now in the um, video. Um, I've been playing World of Warships for about 5 years, and never really essentially done the lines, the Tech Tree lines, um, which are these things. If I go to here, basically, um, I haven't done these lines ever. I have more premium than I do Tech Tree because of the fact that, you know, um, rarity and historical background with some like the West Virginia, Arizona, essentially, and I wasn't as good as I am now with destroyers, aircraft carriers, essential, which was like I think the game started 5 years ago. I started pretty much three. I think it was like 3 years ago at least. I started playing this game, and I originally started with the American line, which was all these ships. And as you can see, it goes from the minesweepers all the way down to the cruisers and the first, or one of the first, um, battleships in the U.S. Navy, as well as Japan. They also have a Japan line, Russian line, German line. So they have a bunch of here. Let me go through that again so you guys can see that. That's the American line. There's the German line. I mean Japan line. The Russian line. And here's Germany, and they also have the famous Bismarck. Um, in here as well. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's the Prince. Why don't I have Prince Ruby paper? Oh yeah, because I didn't get the right. I gotta get that shit. Which means getting Zeton. Um, and the only reason why I got that was as a reward ship for this year. Um, and I totally forgot about that. Wow. Yeah, so that's the next ship I'm actually gonna grind. But I've been playing World of Warships for about 3 years, um, and 3 or 2 years, and I've always gotten the premium ships. Hence, let me go actually to New York port so you guys can see these ships better. Um, so if you go to New York ports, every ship is so how this works. This is the Amagi. Let me switch to actually the the ship that you guys would all know, Indianapolis. So how this game works is, in order to make this a free-to-play kind of arcadey game, the game creator, which is wargaming.net, essentially. I'm not gonna say because I'm not sure if that is actually part of the thing, but wargaming.net per se. How they created this game was they made these ships realistic and the gameplay not. So essentially, let me show you guys the way they did this. So the armor layout, essentially, survivability, airstrikes. They also added. They also do actually. So the body of the ship per se is realistic, but the way the ship performed is realistic. Meaning, if you go to the Arizona, not the Arizona, the where is it? Line. things right here. Yeah, I'm sorry, I have the ship, I just don't know where it is. Ah, here we go. So, if you go here, you will see there is a, let me just, it's easier to see on another camo. I gotta put these on here as well. Ooh, that's nice. I got those. That's cool too. This is one of my favorite ships, by the way. But if you go to, let me see. So if you go here, this is the wartime camo of the Aurora, around her time. So if you type in like Aurora history or something, you'll see the same exact camo on the Aurora in the time period that that this duplicates, which is, I believe, around. Let me see here. Yep, that's me. Yeah, there we go. Which is around 1903. So these ships are, so essentially the armor is changed per se to fit their tier. So you'll have, if the Aurora can per se penetrate a destroyer, and in game she cannot penetrate the same destroyer, that would be a tier difference. So like per se the Bismarck is tier 8 in game, but really it's stronger ship in game, hence Alabama is tier 7 essentially in game, whereas I'm sorry, so both originally way back when, back a couple years ago, Massachusetts was able to be bought in the premium shop, which is where you get all the premium ships. And hang on, I'm just gonna update. Oh, cool. Okay. So Massachusetts. Let's just go with the hood. So Massachusetts, or the hood, actually the hood, is duplicated. So both of these are her. Here's her wartime camo. 19. Where was she? And here's her battle worn camo. So all these ships are essentially realistic to the point where they're able to, they had the model correct. So they have every part of the model correct around. That's actually a really cool gun. Every part of the model correct, even to the rockets. The rocket launchers here, which actually shoot off. These actually will shoot off when the planes come into a certain spec. But because these ships are essentially mixed into one game, so like if it was Hood versus Bismarck, and that's the only way that you could battle per se. So that's the game per se. You track the Bismarck in the Hood or something, and then when you sink the Bismarck, you could switch, like let's say, to the Bismarck and kill the Hood. So let's just say that's the game, and with realistic scenery, that could essentially be realistic. But because the ships are like the Hawkeye, the Repulse, the Agile, the Degross, Dunkirk, essentially can be all played within the same game, essentially, like within the same tier. They make it so like no ship has a dramatic overpowered sense into it, and they do, unfortunately, unfortunately or not, they do make overpowered ships essentially, which is really cool. That one of those ships is the Georgia, which is an overpowered ship. Here, let me see if I can find her. And but essentially, the Tech Tree lines are per se not overpowered. So if you were to have a battle with Bismarck versus uh, Iowa or something like that, that would essentially be realistic. But so essentially, what I'm trying to say is these ships are realistic to the point of the model, but the gameplay is not realistic. The gameplay is more arcadey. So um, the range is off. The torpedo, like you can have a hood with torpedoes, let's just say. Whereas it depends on the tier. The cruiser, per se, the Aurora has one um, uh, torpedo tube on the front of it. So if you were to add that into a tier 3 game, that would make the ship overpowered. Hence, essentially making Mikasa, which is a tier 2 Japanese battleship, making that accurate would also destroy tier 2 games. So it just depends on how essentially Wargaming wants to grow the game. But it's honestly really fun because like you get to play like verse essentially and command these wartime ships that actually look 100% to 99 depending on how much information they put on it. And if they do mess up, they do re-render it and recreate it to look more like, per se, if you go down to the older ships that were made like Yahagi, there's less of a detail on the guns, as well as some of the paints. Like if you do that, you could see through that. But on some of the older, like let's go with New York. I think New York has similar. You can see where it's not, where you can't see through the windows. So that's essentially where they came from compared to now. Whereas the Arizona, you're able to see through the, I believe, the windows essentially. Let me see. No, you're not. So the Arizona is an older model. But for the most part, like the West Virginia class of battleships, 41 and the both West Virginia class battleships, you're able to see through those windows. So essentially, whenever the game was created, they that's the only difference you will see. The windows plus a couple of other details if the ship is old enough that you're not able to, but everything is there, it's just not as realistic. So whereas like if you were to do this and the West Virginia's horn plays music, so it's a free play game per se, but it's not like 100% wartime. Like I can't take a West Virginia into a tier 1 game and destroy everything. But you can ram, you can shoot, you can get citadels. So it's correct, but also arcadey. Whereas like everything is fair to the point like where like none of these ships would dominate in any tier, give or take your play style. So if you play the Bismarck well enough, you can dominate in a match. But physically, there's no ship in this game that can overpower any ship at its tier. So the West Virginia is made to the point where it's not going to overpower anything. It doesn't go like 30 knots, 40 knots. Whereas the Iowa does go 40 or so knots, but the broadsides, which is the side of the ships, are weaker. So if you do get on the side of that ship, you are able to add or get citadels and create massive damage if you have the Iowa or a stronger battleship that can penetrate the armor. So it is correct essentially, but it is arcadey, so it's not gonna be like actual war. It essentially it's more like a battleship, like you like the game Battleship. That's how this game is styled. It's not styled for any real world wartime setups unless the game sets the game up. So there's also realistic battles where you can go to here and random, like you can fight against players, you can do operations that duplicate real wartime. Like if I go to this, I can pick between a couple different battle things, or if I go somewhere, I forget where, but you could choose different battle types and stuff like that, or different games that duplicate like those wars, and you're able to actually go through that through the gameplay style. Like it's different gameplays and such, and I essentially got to the point where I'm able to essentially get a stronger battleship. So, and they also have Yamato in the game, but now I'm able to grind at the Yamato, and a way of doing this so as well is selling. I don't have to sell everything, but I'm going to. So all these ships are able to be bought again, but well, not the premiums obviously, and some of these you're not able to buy, like the Missouri that I have in here, as well as the Georgia. So Bismarck essentially interprets the so many different ships in here, but trying to find the Missouri for you guys. And they'll do fun events too. At some real historic ships, like some museums, they'll do some fun events and let you play these games as well at the museum. So, what was I going to show you? Oh yeah, Missouri. So the Missouri, like the Missouri here. And it ends in history, so if you're a history buff and you like reading about history but also like playing games, you just go over the card here and it will give you the Tennessee class battleships or direct evolution of the New Mexico class battleships. So Tennessee was basically where we would have gone if Japan and our other allies, or our other enemies essentially, or allies, did not switch, or the other countries per se is what I mean, did not switch to faster battleships like the Imagi, or because before that I think it was like the Oklahoma, California, West Virginia, until we switched to the Massachusetts class, South Dakota class battleships. So if we didn't essentially switch to the faster battleships, this would be the America's setup and blueprints of these ships. And they're also created to be how they were depicted in the blueprints as well. So if the Tennessee ever was to be a thing, that's the way it would look. And I'm going to buy the Azuma, which is, I actually have to sell my Amagi to get the Azuma, so it's not like credit wise. And but basically you've seen my live streams with this, so you guys know pretty much what this game is all about. What am I talking about here? I just like giving you guys updates as well. With these games, I like Brandenburg, Freshen, Campbelltown. You could play London, the London Ark Royal, Duke of York. The Intrepid isn't in here yet, which I'm waiting for, but Dunkirk is in here, and it'll give you information on all these ships. So, Tengshi is also an event ship as well. It's based off of, I believe, the Sina. Yeah, Sina. Which is a real wartime battleship of the Japan Navy. So I'm not saying like, I wasn't saying like that this would essentially happen. I'm just saying like, if we were to go to war with our allies, and or if anything were to happen back then, where our allies or our enemies did not switch over to faster battleships, we would probably have these battleships created versus the faster ones like Massachusetts. But as time goes on, weapons get stronger, so you never know in wartime. So, what we're going to do is find the Amagi now, which is over here. So the Amagi is right here. And what I like to do, guys, because I have premium ships, I like to sell these ships because I can buy them again and they're not going anywhere. Unless, obviously, I need to, I can always grind a ship or, make it a way where I can be able to. So I sold that, and I have an upwards of, it should load. There we go. 18. So, and I have sold ships in the past that weren't. Also, they give you these cool captains from TV shows like Star Trek and other like Warhammer, Star Trek. They do some other events as well as some other shows, and the captains are basically sound like the character in the show as well, so or the TV show. So I'm gonna buy this, and I'm gonna upgrade this as well. This is one of the ships that I've always wanted to get, and finally was able to get. I finally did the grind out of, I think, some event that was going on. I'm like, yeah, I need to grind this ship, because if not, then I'm not going to be able to do that. So we are going to show you as well what basically can do with this. So if I wanted to upgrade this, I could. 1660. Ooh. And hull B is essentially, so they won't give you the info for hull B, but essentially how this works is if this goes by, I think that, yeah, so the stock ships essentially are not the full, so they'll make these ships to the point where they're like, so for the New York, if New York has a period where like when it was first created, before the AA mounts before they started using aircraft carriers and using more planes to attack ships. There was no need for AA mounts, so they had less AA mounts on their ships. And then when they started using aircraft carriers, they added more AA mounts. So essentially, if you look at the hulls, the different hulls, this is the hull from like 19 whatever, and Izumo. Let's see. So I'm telling you right now what the. Okay, in 1943, Japan decided to abandon the displacement limits set by the Washington Naval Conference in order to surpass U.S. battleships in combat capability. The Imperial Japanese Navy General Staff issued an order to design a battleship with 9 460 millimeter guns. And a displacement of I'm not getting 69,500 tons. The present projects had 3 triple gun turrets mounted on the bow, housing 410 millimeter guns. I guess that's the table there, or there, which or maybe not sure. The preferred project had a combined diesel and steam turbine propulsion plant, while the design was never implemented. Further development led to the creation of the Yamato class battleships. So this ship was designed in 1935. So if you were to look at the info of the Izumo, history of the Izumo, you would essentially, if this ship was in actual battle or war, or they actually built this ship and actually used it in war, you would see the dry dock version of it. So the or the what do they call it? The built version of it. So you would see essentially the release version of it. So the version that was so if we were to create the Massachusetts, the dry dock version, like the first built version of it versus the upgraded version. So what I mean is, like, the first design of the Izumo was so whole A, essentially the best way of explaining this, is the first design Izumo, whereas whole B would be the upgraded Izumo, compared to like years later. So if, like, in history the Izumo had to be or needed to be or they need to add more AA mounts on the ship in real world, they would add the AA mounts in game. So essentially, if, like, they need to switch anything on the Izumo in the actual world versus game, they would add that into the game, essentially. So what I mean by that is, if there is any upgrades, is what I mean. So the day that Izumo was rolled out, I guess, or commissioned, that's the word I'm thinking of. The day that Izumo was commissioned, that is whole A. And the day that Izumo got an upgrade would be whole B. They do not. The only time that they do make upgrades is if there is no. So essentially, you have a certain amount of hit points here, and the only thing that they will do to make this ship more viable in the battle sense of things, especially higher tier, is the fact that once you're able to, um, you grind by ship XP, so which shows up here somewhere, um, and that ship XP would be upgraded as you get to. So if you have 18,000 ship XP on your commander, which shows up here, you're able to get a propulsion upgrade. Not all upgrades are essentially okay. So all upgrades are, I think, correct. I'm not sure the propulsion, or the accuracy. I think the accuracy is off as well due to, that I could be wrong, but I know for sure the only thing that they do is this, with the hit points and the higher, things. So I have 76,500 hit points on the ship, and, if you go up higher, so this ship, up to tier 10, every ship has in the tech tree has a sort of upgrade, and if the ship never got an upgrade within, hit the history of its life, or its time in the, Navy, if the ship never got an upgrade, they add hit points to it. If the ship did get an upgrade, they'll add those upgrades within Hull B. So Hull A would be the commissioned state of the Izumo. Hull B would be any updates or upgrades that they create on the ship. I believe they're adding rockets on these ships pretty soon. So essentially, Missouri had rockets. You have targeted rockets now. I believe they're adding in rockets. I will also make a video for that because that is so cool. But yeah. So essentially, any ship. That's how they would essentially create Hull B and Hull A. By doing that, just because it's a lot funner to see the change and how the, battle changes versus the upgrades and how many planes you take down. A lot of people say to do this differently too. I like to essentially get propulsion first, then this, then that. It's just easier to grind out. Including the accuracy. So yeah, better propulsion, which means you're getting more damage. That's how essentially I see it. And you can also have these. Whereas if you have crappy guns, you also get these boosts that, do boost, the hit points of your main battery guns, which is you have a certain amount of, hit points per, ship, and that is displaced into the guns, the, superstructure of the ship, the side of the ship, and that's how you get this number 76,500, which is the amount of hit points in total that the ship has on, the hull of the ship per se. So if you shoot the ship, you lose hit points depending on the shot. So that's how essentially that works, and you can negate that or protect that by adding armor or adding this to the ship. But that also does, if I were to click on this per se, that also does negate some things if I was to do this. Let's see. There we go. So essentially, my guns right now are, the traverse speed of my guns. So if I was to go here, I could read the traverse speed of the guns, the triple turrets, and if I was to go here, it would give me the traverse speed. So if I was to get this, it would minimize my. Essentially, I'll show you. It would risk or protect my guns more from being incapacitated. Um, it would add hit points to my guns. Main battery repair time would be 20%. Um, and risk a torpedo incoming incapacitated. So, um, the ability of the torpedo to incapacitate guns essentially is less. Torpedo tubes repair time, and that is if you do have a ship with torpedoes. Um, but that's the best way of me explaining it. Um, in terms of how this works, you could also do research for yourself as well. Um, but that's all up to you. I can only show you so much and have the video be like so long. So, anyways, thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope you liked it. If you like any other videos like this, please let me know. I do love creating videos like this, and it was roughly 36 minutes, which is most of my live streams now. So, hope you guys like this video. I would do a battle video, but I don't know if you guys want to see that. So, but if you guys are interested in that, please let me know in the comments below. I will definitely create those, and I have done that in the past, I believe, on live streams. So, hope you guys like this video. I'm also still working on the Big Time Rush concert video, trying to get all those videos in a whole big video, as well as having Jesse's Girl, which is I think a musical. I also have some videos from that, and some videos from the drifting event I went to. So I will be posting those videos as fast as I can. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.